I'm Danny Flexen. This is Joe Leigh, both here for Seconds Out to talk about some of the best emerging talent in Great Britain. Joe, do you want to kick off? We're going to have two picks each, and you can have the first pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mohamed Bala Ali. I think he's going to be really good in the next couple of years. And one of the main reasons I think that is because of his ring control and how he's improved from his first fight onto now his last fight, which is his fourth fight. In his first fight, of course, there's nerves and things like that, which you've got to take into account. But it was a lot slower in throwing the shots. He's always had that really quick speed, and that's always going to benefit him. But he's now using it. So like when he's throwing that left, right, he's actually damaging the opponent, and he can use his speed to move out of the way when the opponent's trying to counter. He's really one to look out for. Other things I've noticed, his footwork. So he pushes his opponent against the ropes. So he's always the one on the front foot, therefore controlling the fight, like I say. And I think that's something that for a young fighter to have is amazing, because you can control anyone, no matter how old they are, how experienced. If you're pushing them against the ropes, and you're always going to have a better chance.
And he's managed, isn't he, by Tunde Ajayi, who works most notably with Anthony Yarde. So he spent a lot of time in camp at the Peacock with Anthony Yarde. Do you think that would have benefited him?
100%. I think the mentality that the guys have down at the Peacock have really set into him. You can tell he's level-headed and he's very humble, because he's still very young, and sometimes that can get to fighters. But he's, even after his first win, even all of his wins, he never gets overconfident. He knows there's still work to be done, and that's a really good sign.
Well, I'm going to take your Bilal Ali. Very good pick that was. And I'm going to raise you with David Adeleye.
Oh, okay. Heavyweight, big heavyweight.
Nice. Heavyweight prospect.
Yeah.
1-0. He's only had one fight so far as a pro, but very, very good amateur.
Yeah.
Won the senior and the junior ABAs in quite a short amateur career overall, but won the titles that mattered. He's, like I say, he's only had one fight so far. He was supposed to be out on April 11th on the joint bar bill. That's now been delayed till July, as we know. But he's filling in those gaps in his professional education with real good quality sparring. So he's already been in with the likes of Hughie Fury, Derek Chisora, and probably most famously Dubois himself. So we spoke to Adeleye recently. I don't know if that's actually gone live yet, although by the time this is live, it will have.
It will be soon, yeah.
Yeah. And they apparently knocked 7 bells out of each other, and it's a real kind of pride on the line. I mean, Dubois is obviously further ahead at the moment in his professional development, but there's two kind of young studs there. And Adeleye is really kind of chunky, muscular guy, but still around 6'4", so he's imposing physically. He's got a really nice aggressive style, moves his head as he comes forward, likes to take the centre ring, can be a bit overeager, but he's still obviously very early on in his journey.
How do you think this sort of, he's had up to like a 6-month break now, because his fight's been postponed to July due to the coronavirus and whatnot we all know about now. But how do you think that's going to affect him? Because it's gonna have a little bit of ring rust, I guess. It's going to be about 6 months out the ring.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Especially when he's so young as well. I think he's probably going out of his mind sitting at home every day. He still lives with his parents and siblings and stuff. Although he says they all have their own little space, it's quite relaxed. It's only a few days in, so let's see how he reacts in the next couple of weeks. But
exactly.
He's got a really good attitude. He's keen to learn. He's happy to take his time. But I think based on his amateur achievements and what he's doing in the sparring ring, he can probably be fast-tracked to an extent. So although he's missing out 6 months now, he's still only 23 years old. He could get another couple of fights in before the end of the year and then be looking at like an area title at the beginning of next year, perhaps.
Definitely. And I think the fact that in between that 6 months period he's had off, he's trained with, as we were saying, the likes of some top heavyweights and the best one at the moment, Tyson Fury. So it's not like he's been sat at home really and doing nothing. He's really been training hard. So he's going to come back for his second fight almost as a completely new fighter already, which is highly exciting for him and his career.
Well, just being handpicked by Fury for that last camp, I mean, that in itself must be huge for his confidence, you know?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, that for a young boxer to have that sort of mentality, looking up to Tyson Fury, knowing he's appreciates the work he's putting in, it's going to boost anyone's confidence.
So who have you got for me then? Who's your trump card?
Dennis McCann. The thing I like about him most is he's the Dennis the Menace, the name, the marketing behind it, the shorts he wears, the black and red shorts. That's what stood out to me. I watched him on the Dubois Gorman undercard last year, and he just stood out, and I've remembered him ever since then, really. The way he picks fighters out, he's got a really nice right uppercut.
I was just going to say, he's like ludicrously young anyway, but looks even younger. Apparently he's just got married.
Exactly.
Which kind of blew
he has.
my mind.
He has. Yeah. He's got a lot of power as well. Frank Warren's actually compared him to Nassim Hamid a few times, which much put a lot of pressure on his back. But he's handled that well. Being on TV a few times with the BT undercards, he's got that exposure. That's good for a young fighter, because it's often hard for young fighters to proceed in their career because they're not getting put on the right shows, but he's getting put on the right shows and putting the right performances in at the right time. So I think that's going to be really beneficial.
He seems to have a really engaging personality as well. He's not kind of media managed at this stage of his career. That change as he goes through, but he just seems like a kind of down-to-earth, fun-loving sort of kid, and I think people are going to relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. And most importantly, he's got that mentality in him. That's that hard work and dedication. And I think that's really going to do him well for the future. But he's literally only 19. His birthday's 2 days before me, actually, I realised. So we're not far apart. And for him to be like doing what he's doing at literally the same age as me, the same time and everything, is fantastic. And the fact he's a southpaw, it's gonna prove difficult work for a lot of the other bantamweights in the division.
Now, before I say my last pick, I've just realised that all 4 of our picks are Frank Warren fighters. People think that we've been paid off or something, but we genuinely came up with this on our own. And my second pick is Hamza Shiraz, who I had the pleasure of speaking to recently. Another one kind of affected by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, but still training in the park, in the local park, apparently. Said the police were looking at him the other day in a nice way, rather than
really?
casing the joint or anything. How'd you case a park, But he's just really impressed me since he turned pro. He's very tall for the weight. He's a super welterweight. BoxRec have him listed, I think, as 6'1". He's not 6'1" because I'm 6'1", and he's definitely taller than me. I'd say 6'2", 6'3", super welter, lean, but really good on the inside as well as from distance. You wouldn't expect someone of his stature to be as good in the pocket as he is. Really proved himself in his life. Brian Kelly, who was area champion.
That was fantastic. Before.
Yeah, it really was. In the fact that he was dictating behind his jab early on, Kelly really poured it on strong, got in his face, unloaded to the body, and you thought, he could be in a bit of trouble here. He's only 20 years old. Not a long amateur career. First real gut check, if you like. And he really responded with aplomb. He met him at his own game, engaged him inside and got the better of him and got him out there, became the first man to stop him. So just really impressive for his age.
100%. I think he was ruthless in that. When he sort of decided to go for it, he didn't even start. He was just swinging for the fences and landing really well as well. And to have that in him, to have that confidence to go for it, I know it's going to come off. I think that's really strong. He was the away fighter that day as well against a solid opponent. So, that was really impressive for him. And as you say, for the young fighters in the coronavirus at the moment, it's so frustrating because they like to have fights all the time, like 4 or 5 a year. So this is going to be the biggest impact in terms of boxing is going to be for these prospects that we're talking about, unfortunately. But there we go.
I think all the guys we picked out, one thing that's in common apart from their talent is their attitude. I think, this will affect them. And it's hard when you're so young to build up momentum and have it stymied so early on. But they've all got a real professional attitude in terms of taking each fight as it comes.
Good mentality.
Composure. It's probably disproportionate to their age. It belies their young years. And that's a great thing, and it will stand them in good stead. And I think that's where someone like Frank Warren, and again, must point out we haven't been paid off. But I've got to say, this is where he kind of comes into his own as someone who can put an arm around the shoulder of these younger guys and kind of guide them along. He's known for bringing through young British talent. And I think they'll be looked after and they'll be moved up only at the right time.
That's how you improve. You start early and then you get the right mentality. So when things do go wrong, it's not going to be over. Very
good point. Yeah. Right, we want to know what people out there think as well. Obviously, we've picked out 4 selected guys that we think are really going to make waves in the sport. But who do you think are the top UK prospects? Let us know.
Down below,
And let us know who you think got the better two out of me and Joe as well. Let's add a competitive element to this,
Let's do it, yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think got the better two, and who would you kind of bank on to go as far as possible? Let's see what people out there think.
Awesome. Wicked.
Right, great stuff. Well, let's hope we can do this again soon.
For sure.